Dani, welcome to the podcast. We are going to talk all things launches and sales page optimizations. Welcome, welcome.
Yay. So excited to be here. Thank you.
All right, let's dive in. You know, because you listen to this podcast, that I just like to just go for it. What have you been seeing in launches lately? What's moving the needle for course creators?
Yeah, I mean, so much is changing for sure right now. And so many trends. I actually just listened to, you had a great episode a little while back about trends and everything going on. What I'm seeing, I'm seeing a lot of like pre-launches being a lot more thoughtful right now, like really needing like a longer runway to help people make that decision, right? Um, and like we really need to, I believe, adapt to that and like give our audience a heads up, let them know what's coming down the pipe, really writing strategic and valuable pre-launch copy. That's really like the biggest thing that I'm seeing right now. Just people needing more time, and they're still making those decisions, but we need to help them a little bit more in making those decisions.
So let's talk about this pre-launch a little bit, because I agree that people need to be nurtured. We can't just like throw it at them and expect them to buy our courses. How long do you like as a copywriter to like, what's a decent run up for you?
Yeah, I like giving about 2 months, and like
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be very hardcore salesy. It's just really helping your audience get in that mindset and informing them um, about, what do they need to know to be able to be in that position to purchase from you down the road. So really strategic copy. We're always nurturing our audience, but yeah, those like 2 months prior, starting to shift our content to make it a little bit more strategic.
And in terms of content, like you listen, I love the pain point driven content. Is there specific content you like to put out, say, a month before you go into crunch time that month of the launch?
It's really starting to overcome the objections and those misbeliefs that your audience will have. Like, listen, you can put out an offer that is $1, like make it 99.9% discount. But if they still don't realize why they're going to need the dang thing, they're not going to purchase no matter how good, seemingly good, the price of the offer is. So yeah, that content before, just starting to overcome those objections and let them understand why this is maybe a problem in their life, and why there's other options, or just, yeah, really starting to shift their mindset out of these misbeliefs and objections.
And what do you like to see? Do you see copy that's better than others in terms of taking on those objections? Like, what do you think is the best way to do that?
I don't know if there's one specific answer. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
understanding your audience, and testing. Like, truly, my answer to everything is testing. Let's put out videos and see how that works. Let's put out a podcast and see how people react to that. Maybe it's a long form email, maybe it's a short form email. So it's really just trying to test things out and read the data. It's every story, I believe, like every one of us have a story in our data. It's just kind of digging into it and seeing what it is for you and your audience.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I just did this call to actions episode where we're testing out with different clients call to actions on the blog, call to actions on the podcast, right? And seeing what really hits, because I fall into a rut sometimes, or I fall into a rhythm of, okay, this is what I've been doing in terms of the long form, and I'm not testing out the short form or a box above, right? Or
Right.
putting that wait list out in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And just testing out. And I think 2-3 months out from the launch is a great time to do that. Do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree, and I love the wait list idea too. I've been testing different things too, like what does it mean to actually sign up for this wait list? Are they going to get something different that nobody else sees? Are they going to get, I don't know, a discount, or like just making it actually mean something when they sign up for these things? So yeah, I've been testing that one as well.
And what do you think about the waitlist bonus? Like, do you see that as an effective marketing tactic as a part of the pre-launch, or you're not really seeing it move the needle?
Yeah, I will say I have.
Mm-hmm.
I also see that I get different results on different launches too. Like, I don't think what we've done in the past determines 100% what our next launch is going to be. So I've tried different things as well. Or I've also let people in early, maybe like a week early, which
Yeah.
has helped on the wait list. Because for my stuff, it's all about like launches. I sell launch templates and stuff. And when they need it, right? So allowing them to come into the dashboard a week early was was a helpful bonus for one of my launches.
I agree. So I think it's a few things. One, letting them in early because we all want to feel special, right? We
Totally,
all want
totally,
to feel
right?
like, San Diego Open's coming to town, tennis tournament. It's a
Yep.
pre-sale right now. I'm feeling major FOMO, and they
Mm-hmm.
announced whoever's marketing this, by the way, brilliant. Because okay, they announced the pre-sale. Then yesterday I got an email like quarterfinals, semifinals nearly sold out. I'm like, I gotta get these tickets now, right? I don't want to
Yeah.
miss out. I feel like I'm part of that community because I got the email and I got access to the pre-sale, even though everybody gets access to the pre-sale, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just this feeling that I'm part of something bigger. And I think that if you make that bonus juicier, so like access to you if you're
Right.
small enough to do that, because I've had people like with my 6 week accelerator say like, hey, is that bonus still available? And I do tend to honor it depending. But I think just making them feel like they're part of something special and then giving them like an exclusive bonus is what I see, like an
Yeah.
access bonus.
I totally agree that when we can offer the one-to-one access, I think it's huge, and we can limit it too, right? To help with scarcity, maybe the first 10 people who come in through the wait list get
Yes.
access to me or however that looks. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. What's a strategy that you've implemented lately in terms of a launch that really improved conversions for you or for a client?
Yeah. So I recently, on my thank you page or like the confirmation page, once someone purchased, I posted a one question survey. Maybe it's not even a survey because it was just one question, asking them why they purchased. And
Yeah.
I made it super, super simple for them, like embedded the one question right on the page. So they didn't have to click elsewhere. Like it was right there, very easy to complete. And it captured so much great information and just totally spearheaded the rest of my campaign. So it like really grabbed their excitement. I asked them why they purchased. Um, and then I got all of this really wonderful VOC, like voice of customer research. And it gave me like a much deeper understanding of what they want and why they purchased. And then I used all of that info right in that very same launch. Because typically on the first day, like more sales came in. So I was able to
Right.
get a really good chunk of info. And then I just used it for the rest of the week. So put it back into all of my emails, explaining why like people are purchasing, and my audience could like really see themselves in these answers. And I also used it in like my Instagram stories, plugged it back in for testimonials and proof. I even tightened up my sales page like during that week of like reasons people are buying. And then so week of it for sure helped me, but then also my debrief, like post launch, I went back and looked at everything, and improved my messaging and like my sales page and whatnot. So it's a strategy I highly recommend. And it was so easy. It was one
So
question I just put on
easy.
the thank you page. Yes. I was like, why haven't I done this
So
earlier?
simple, and you used it
Hmm.
everywhere, and I love it, especially early on, right? Because I think sometimes we think, oh, the campaign's done, but it's not done.
Right.
You and I know that, right? Like you got to pivot, you
Hmm.
got to adapt. What are people responding to? What I had a client who just pushed their campaign by a little bit, and it's a blessing because we already started to get some feedback and like are better aware of the objections that we need to take care of. So I love having more time for that. And I love having this feedback loop. And then, okay, so tell me a little bit about technology. Like, what do you like for your land? Where do you put on your landing page? What do you like for
So
it?
I use a software called FG Funnels. I use them for like
Okay.
all of my software. It's a great
Yeah.
all-in-one. And I used Typeform. I was able to embed the question right into
Easy.
Typeform, and then I'm like getting the answers right to my phone in a
I
text
love it.
message. I was like, oh, right.
Oh, so
And I am
easy.
like the farthest thing from tech savvy. So if
Me
I can do
too.
it, anyone can do
But I
it.
love a good Google form too. You could do a Google
Yep.
form for that, right?
Yep.
So,
Hmm.
okay, that's great. And how much? What was the price point of that offer?
For the offer, it
Yeah.
is about $1,200. That was my signature
Okay.
offer. Hmm.
Okay, great. All right. So, and obviously they want to give you, that's the thing, the higher the price point, they want to give you that feedback, right?
They do, and I feel like in that moment, like when someone just purchases, they're so excited that they are happy to share. It's not
Yeah.
quite like when we send out surveys to our email, and it's kind
Oh,
of like sometimes pulling out teeth and like, please answer this question for me. They want to share because they're super pumped out that they just purchased in that moment.
okay. This is a great distinction, Danny, because we've all been there where we're like, we're surveying the list and no one's,
Hmm.
it's like crickets sometimes, like no one's getting back to me. But buyers are incentivized, right? So, like, think about when you've bought,
Totally.
And
Mm-hmm.
wanting to give that feedback, good or bad, right? I had like a horrible Amtrak experience, and Amtrak sent me. I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
can't wait to tell Amtrak how I
Right.
feel, right? But the flip side of that, like I take a great course, I'm like, I can't wait to tell this course creator how much I love her,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
okay, tiny tactic, but like so smart and informs so much of what we do in terms of our messaging. Are there any other techniques that you're seeing today that we should be implementing into our launches?
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like gone are the days. I don't know if they ever totally were here, but gone are the
Yeah.
days that we can have this like perfect plug and play template and things go off, we follow it to a T, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think now more than ever, like we need to listen to our audience. You kind of briefly mentioned that too, like during our pre-launch and during our open cart launch, and adapt to what they're saying. So a couple things I'm doing um, is like really trying to understand different ways that my audience wants to consume my launch info. So thinking about like the conversion event or however you call it, maybe it's the webinar,
Yeah.
can you send that replay in, let's say, an audio version? Or maybe you can send it with
Mm.
the slides with timestamps of what was discussed. Or maybe you can send a PDF of the like Q&A session at the end, like all of the questions that came through. Just really trying to send that info in different formats because like my audience may want to consume it differently. And it's interesting because I feel like we're starting to do that with our courses already, changing up like the formats of our courses. But why not start to do that with our launch info as well?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that I'm starting to do. And then the other thing is, I just did this recently. I jumped on a live call mid launch. I shared my screen and like just totally shared the entire dashboard of my program. And I know it helped drastically. And like I've shown sneak peeks in like in an email often. That's kind of a staple email. Like here's a sneak peek of the dashboard. But doing it live, I think gave a whole another level of transparency. And like people were able to ask me questions about specific lessons. We kind of went back and forth. So that was another little tactic that I tried lately that really helped.
Okay, this is great. This is great. So, going back to your sell, I call it the selling system. So, like, say you're doing the webinar, because I've done launches where the people ask for the replay. Do they really like? Do they really watch the replay? I think it depends on your audience. I think it depends what kind of webinar you put together,
Mhm.
right? But for some clients, I'm like, they ain't watching this replay. So I
Right.
love your idea of repurposing with a PDF, or what else did you say? The audio
Like,
version. So smart.
mhm.
Yeah, and
Right,
just
or
mixing it up.
timestamps and just
Timestamps.
yeah,
What do your
just making
people
it
really
super
need?
easy,
Yeah, super easy
right?
because and I tend to go like 60 to 90 minutes on a webinar, right, with the
Mhm.
Q&A, and you say you're going to get to it and you're just not going to get to it, right?
Mhm.
So I love this and meeting people where they're at and giving them some kind of added value that still highlights you as the expert and as the
Right.
authority. And then of course you're including the pitch in that, right, Dani? Like some kind of
Right.
promotion
Yep.
for that.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like inside that PDF, or making sure you have the pitch at the end of that audio, because let's not forget
Yep.
our end game,
And
right?
totally. And
Yeah.
also in different formats too, right? They may not want to wait this 60 minutes to hear the pitch. They may want to see it right away in that PDF. I know I've definitely joined webinars that I just wanted to hear the pitch because that's why I was interested in
Mm,
working with them.
I
And I've literally
know.
came on just to hear the pitch.
Right. You're like, let's just get to it. Right?
Yeah,
Sometimes I feel like that with sales pages. Like I'm ready to buy, and then I know like have a call to action on top, right?
totally.
Make sure I hit
Hmm.
buy. But you know those sales pages where it's like those long form and I gotta scroll and I gotta scroll. I'm like, I just want to buy this from you.
Yeah,
Why are you making it so
yeah,
hard for me? Right?
yeah.
So
No,
how
I totally hear you.
what are you just did a blog I think recently about some sales page optimizations, like what are some things that you look for, like say you have an existing course creator client who has a sales page, maybe a simple sales page, what are two or three elements that you always point out to optimize?
Yeah. And I do like I see this a lot. I have a like a boost is what I call an audit offer. And I see this all the time. It's just
Mhm.
for one, like how clear is it? Like so many times I've landed on a sales page. I'm like, what am I actually getting? Like what is
Yeah, I
can
love
you
that.
just tell this to me in the most simple, basic terms. Sometimes we just try to be super fancy and it doesn't move the needle. So do I understand what is being offered? And sometimes when I look at a sales page too, like I think about investing in the leader. Do I feel connected with this leader? Is this the way I want my business running? Assuming that I have a business too. Like, is this someone that I would enjoy hanging out with? Do I understand their values? Do we align? Because there's so many different, or there's so many of maybe very similar offers online that we want to make sure that we're investing with someone that we align with. So just making sure your personality comes out on the page. But yeah, I think the biggest one is just understanding the offer. Why do I need this offer right now? Kind of goes back to the basics. We talk about benefits all the time, but at the end of the day, I really want to know what I'm getting out of this offer. How is it going to serve me? All these very basic things that we just can't let it be overlooked.
Yeah. Okay. So let's unpack this a little bit. So a couple of things that I see is either not talking about the benefits or digging into the pain points enough. And then I teach this in my 6-week accelerator. And then what happens sometimes is they dig really great way into the pain points and then forget to promote the course, right? They're like, are you feeling this? Or you feel it doesn't have to be that way. And then it's like, okay, and this is where the course comes in. This is
Right.
where the bragging comes in,
How
right?
can you help me?
Yeah, how can you
Mhm.
help me? And I appreciate what you're saying about feeling connected to this person. One thing that I kind of struggle with, Danny, and maybe you can help me with this, is I love telling their personal stories. We had Bo Eason on, and I think it's so important to tell your story, but I oscillate between having it higher up on the sales page, but I want to make it about them, but I also want them to share their story. Like, where do you lie on that?
Yeah. Ooh, I love this question. It's funny. When I teach sales pages, I actually say to have it in both spots, the top and the bottom.
I like
The
that.
top, I call it like a connection section,
Hmm.
and it should be just like 2 lines, very, very brief, but just like, this is who I am. And it kind of gives like the voice. So as you read the rest of the page, oh, I know who this is coming from. I don't have to wait to the very bottom to read the about page. Like, I want to know who is saying this. So I teach to share a bit of a very quick connection section right at the top. And then later on, you can go into your about section a little bit more. But yeah, so I kind of actually say doing both at the top and bottom.
Okay, that's a great answer. So that's basically how you support this outcome of connecting with you, but also make it
Yeah,
about them. You can go into greater detail as you go further down the page. Okay,
exactly.
so love this. Any final thoughts in terms of sales pages, or messaging that you want to leave us with?
I think it's more just understanding that every launch is different, and really, and not even every launch from, well, yes, every launch from, every individual who's listening, but every one of your launches too is so incredibly different. So it's important just keeping a pulse on your audience. I mean, don't underestimate, we've already talked about surveys, don't underestimate like a post-launch survey, even if it's tricky to get those answers in. Really valuing research. So yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to, is just deeply understanding your audience, trying to stay in touch with them, hopping on calls with them, doing what you can to really understand what is changing in their world. There's so much changing online here for us. We can only imagine what's changing in their world. So it's just trying to stay on top of that.
Okay, so that's a great tip, because you're absolutely right. And if you've done a launch before, so say you launched 6 months ago, what's different now, right?
Right.
What's different about your audience, and what do you like to do to figure that out? By the way, Danny, do you just go to your
I
students, or?
I do like to do surveys. I really do.
Mhm.
Um, I go to my surveys. I ask for one-on-one calls, and I make it very beneficial to them when I ask for one-on-one calls, because I get access to me, and they can ask questions as well. So I do make it in the light of like, help me help you sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's been really helpful for me to get on one-on-one calls with people.
Okay, love it. Where can we learn more about you and your magic?
Cool. So I hang out on Instagram at dannypaige.online. And I also have a private podcast, or like audio series right now, at offers.dannypaige.com/debrief diaries.
Okay.
So it's kind of even more of what we're chatting about, like behind the scenes strategy of launches, my debriefs of my launches that have been taking place over the last year. So lots more kind of transparent thoughts that people can tune in about.
Okay, awesome. We'll check that out. We'll make sure to link to it
Cool.
in the show notes. And thanks for popping by.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me, Gina. So much fun.